Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Golden Pursuit run-through. I'm Jackson. As always, if you're looking for specific challenges in this Golden Pursuit, there'll be time codes below and in the description if you just want to skip ahead. There should be, sometimes YouTube breaks, you know how it is. So this set here, get ready to ride. This is the new Golden Pursuit that's just come out. There are 36 challenges in total. You need to do 20 in order to get the bear, and the other options, yeah, you can obviously just do less. So there's a lot of easy options here. Some of these are PvP related though. That being said, you can completely ignore the PvP options and there is still enough to get all 20 completed. So if you don't like the PvP in this game, you don't have to touch it at all. Alright, so I'm going to go based on the ones I think that are the easiest to do, and then I'll go through it all the way to like ones I basically suggest you avoid, unless like in some cases you just want to go completely through the PvP route. But yeah, so I'm going to start with I'll go the claiming rewards options first, because these are really damn easy. Also the mount upgrades, where are they? This one here, improving riding skills. So firstly, claim rewards. As soon as you log in, you'll get a big announcement screen. It's impossible to miss. It's this one here. This here is the way to claim your daily rewards. You just go there. You can also find it in the Crown Store under the daily rewards tab over here. So yeah, just do that 10 times. Just make sure you do it before the amount of time left is, as long as that's above 10, you should be fine. So yeah, just make sure you keep doing those. And then mount upgrades, you just have to visit the stable. I assume everyone knows how this works, but yeah, if you're all about running on foot, I guess. So the stables, every city has one. You can just find them using this horse icon here. Each upgrade is 250 gold. Now, the only thing to consider here is that one, there is an add-on I use to automate this. It's just called a Lazy Horse Trainer. I have it here. So whenever you just go to one of these people here, it just automatically does it for you. You don't have to pick any of them. And you can customize it a little bit. Also, if you have, like I have all the mount upgrades possible on every single character that I can choose. So I can't actually do this one. And that's probably going to be an issue for some players, but I assume those kinds of players are not watching this video, so that's probably not a big deal. But it is unfortunate. Yes, there are plenty of other options to choose from, but this is generally a very easy option that you could choose, even for like experienced players. So not getting this option because I've already done everything, just it's fucking painful. But yes, that's the way it is, unfortunately. Alright, so now let's look at another really easy option, one that I usually focus on first. Player homes and furnishings. Now, obviously, if you have your own house, you can do this. Any furnishing works, and any of your own houses count for this. You could just go to home tours for the visit play homes one, just double click on any of these and just travel there. But you can do this with your own home, so I don't usually really worry about that. So, what you need is a house. You can get one for free that comes with its own furnishing if you go to this specific location. It's not the only place you can do this, but it's the easiest one to reach. So go to Volkagard Wayshrine here, and then just slightly northwest. This Wayshrine, you have it unlocked as soon as you create any character, so everybody can just come here when you're ready. It's really easy to do. So where this house is located, just come into this building here, just slightly northwest. There'll be an NPC you can speak to. Her name is Philanda Marie. You've probably seen this one 100 times, but just talk to her, complete the quest. All you have to do is just talk to her to complete it. So you get some gold as well, which is good, and you'll get a house. Now, it doesn't show up here because I've already got them, but if you want to know which houses show up, you just go to the map tab here, under houses. So under collected, you'll see all the houses that you own. There should be one here, either Rosie Lion, you'll either get Ebony Flask in room, or you'll get Myra's Kiss Public House. These are the 3 free ones that you get for talking to Philanda Marie. The one that you get depends on the alliance that you're in. So Daggerfall Covenant, for example, I'd get the Rosie Lion, but I've already got it. So yeah, that's how it works. So now all you have to do is just travel into the house. Now you can do it directly through the door. If you're on Ordinary Dominion and you get this house, you can just do it, but you also can just go to the map under houses here, click on the house, and it will show you where it is on the map. So here it is here. So you just go left click, travel inside. So you'll do the traveling animation. Now, if you want to skip this, you can also go straight to the Wayshrine nearby, and you can do this with any of the houses that you own. So as an example here, I'm just going to travel to... oh, I don't have the hotkey assigned, sorry. So yeah, just go travel inside, confirm, and that just skips the initial animation for it. Most of the time it's better just like, especially if just in the middle of nowhere, it's better just like to do the normal animation. But yeah, if you're next to the way shrine, can't hurt to do that. Alright, so as soon as you get in here, you'll look down and there should be a little candle right here. All of these free houses here start with one of these, and this just counts as a furnishing. So all you have to do now is enter the housing editor, pick up this candle. Now you go put it away. Don't put it back on the ground, that doesn't work. And now on the bottom left, you'll see it says undo, just hit that. That will count as placing a furnishing. So undo, redo, just spam that. And that's just a quick way to place it and unplace it a bunch of times. And you'll see now that actually counts as furnishings. And now that we traveled into our own house, we also visited player homes. So now all you have to do is just leave the home, go through the animation for, the loading screen. Once you exit the loading screen, just go straight back into that house and just repeat that process over and over, and that will progress the player homes one. So now if I just go back in, take a look, and we're at 3 out of 5. So I can just do that a couple more times. Back in. Now 4 out of 5, so just one more time, and that'll be that one done. In here, you'll hear the little noise to say that you've done it. That's it. So yeah, these two, really easy to do. Alright, so I'm just going to cover two interesting ones, Battleground Match and Tales of Tribute. They're very similar. Battlegrounds is easier, I suppose, to do, because you don't need High Isle and you don't need to do a training quest to start it off. But yeah, they basically do the same thing. So what I would advise with these two is just do them. I won't talk about how to do them well, because you don't. One, I don't do them enough to be able to tell you that. But two, you don't need to do well for these to work. If anything, I think with Battlegrounds, if you do them terribly, it speeds the Battleground completion up, so it's probably better. But yeah, it's not a good thing to do for the rest of the players. Anyway, so yeah, just find these in Group Finder here, Tales of Tribute, Battlegrounds, that's where you find them. You just join queue and you wait for that. So what I would do is just do the other options while you wait for this to pop. And once that happens, just do them. Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens, just it's a completion. Because yeah, it says here, win or lose, doesn't matter. In Tales of Tribute, yeah, just face opponents, so win or lose, doesn't matter. Now, Tales of Tribute, you must start it using this NPC here. You have to talk to them. I think it does like a tutorial for Tribute players, or like Tribute matches, which explains how the game works. And then from there, you must do it through this this menu here. You cannot use the NPCs that the game put into it for some weird reason. I don't know why, but yeah. So you have to use the system here, which is against players. Sometimes it can take a while for this queue to pop. Same with Battlegrounds. So I wouldn't count on these options to be quick. That's why I say just do the other options while you're waiting for this. And who knows, by the time you actually do get the queue to pop, you probably might be already like 10 in, probably know. So yeah. So start these early, but yeah, just expect them to take a while compared to a lot of the other options. Okay, so let's talk about ultimates now. This one you can basically do as soon as you log in, and you can do 20 very rapidly. There's a way to basically trick the game into believing that you've casted an ultimate without using any ultimate. The only thing is you need to kind of prepare yourself a little bit. So there are ultimates in this game which have a cast time. An example of this would be Dawnbreaker. These ultimates here, if you cast them and then block, Rend here is another good example, or Lacerate in the dual wield skill line. So if you cast the ultimate and then immediately block, it block cancels the ultimate, and you can see here it's actually counted for the Gone Pursuit. It's the same for the Endeavors. So if I just keep doing this, my character's not making any noise, I don't know why, but yeah, you can see here it's just over and over, it's just casting. So I can do the same thing with Dawnbreaker, if I just put that on. Yeah, just, you have to be pretty quick with your blocking, and you have to be pretty good at timing it. So it might take a little bit of learning, but this is, without a doubt, the quickest way to do a shit ton of ultimate casts in the game. I'll just go through now all the different ultimates. I'll start with the two I believe are the easiest by far to use, and personally, in any situation like, for the long run, I do suggest building a character just specifically for this, because having this means it makes one of the endeavors or one of the weekly challenges or whatever super duper easy, because now that daily challenges are no longer becoming a thing when Tamriel tomes come out, this is probably a challenge that will probably pop up from time to time, and it's without a doubt one of the quickest to do if you have one of these. So let's go through. The best is Animal Companions under the Warden skill lines. Feral Guardian. This one here has a cast time of 2.5 seconds, so you literally have all that time to block beforehand, and even if you fail that, it doesn't cost any ultimate to cast the bear, and then you can go into your character menu and right-click to disable it, and then just cast it again. So there's no consequences for error, so it's really easy to use. The other option that I recommend is under Sorcerer, Stormcalling, Overload. This one here, you don't even have to worry about block cancelling it. You just cast it over and over and over again, and it's a toggle. So it doesn't cost any ultimate for toggling it. You just turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. Every time you turn it on, it counts as an ultimate for the challenge sake. So yeah, those are really, really easy ways. If you don't have access to those, though, let me go through some others. So Nightblade is actually really good because of siphoning. They have Soul Shred. This has a relatively short cast time, but the ultimate doesn't cost a whole lot, and it's easy to get. Level 12 and siphoning does not take very long. They've also got Assassination Deathstroke. Very cheap ultimate, but this does require a target. That being said, you could just go to a guild hall with a oh, hang on, just give me 1 sec. Big of a deal if you have the ultimate, because you can just go to a guild hall or to the target dummies in the Scribing area, in the Scholarium, sorry, and you can just use that as a target. Yeah, so it's not a big deal. So you can use that. There's also Templar. They've got Adric Spear, Radial Sweep. This one has a very short cast time, but it's another one of these cheap ultimates and also doesn't require a target. So each one's kind of got some strengths and weaknesses. The two that you have available on every character, because yeah, unfortunately all the other classes don't have any ultimates. So Warden, Templar, Nightblade, and Sorcerer have the ultimates you want to look at. If not, Fighter's Guild has Dawnbreaker. You need to be maxed up on Fighter's Guild though, and Weapon, Dual Wield, Lacerate here requires you to be max level in Dual Wield. So yeah, obviously that's a bit of a pain point, but yeah, look, leveling up a Warden or a Sorcerer, just stacking as many class skills as you can on those specific skill lines, and just rushing straight to this it doesn't take very long, probably like 30 minutes. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, just depending on how much you got and how quick you are. But yeah, once you got to that point, you've got Overload or you've got Feral Guardian, and you can just do this really easily. And that's literally it. Just you log in and just cast these skills, and it's very easy. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend for ultimate casts. Alright, so now on to arguably the most valuable or weighty section. So we've got quests. Really easy to do, and definitely one you should do, because yeah, it's worth it. So writs are probably going to be the best way to do this, naturally, because with writs you get a bunch of quests that you complete. As an example here, you just got 4 for equipment, and then 3 for the consumable ones. So it's 7 in total. So 3 days worth of writs, like just over 2 days basically, you complete 15 quests. Now there's also, I suppose, needs to be noted that if you want to do the PvP side, getting Whitestrakes boxes, you're going to do quests anyway. So if you're going to get your tickets anyway, probably don't worry too much about quests, unless, like, maybe just do a few, but you don't need to worry too much, because Whitestrakes will go for quite a while, and to get your maximum tickets each day, you need to do one daily quest for Cyrodiil, basically, and then 1 daily quest for Imperial City. So you'll get 2 a day. So naturally, you're just going to get through that pretty quick. But if you just want to rush through this without worrying about the PvP stuff, you can just do writs. You can do natural questing, or you can do. I'll show you a method that you can use where basically you just create a sacrificial character, and you just do a bunch. Just basically just log in, run to a bunch of places, press E a bunch of times, and yeah, complete a bunch of quests. Alright, so I don't think this is much of an opinion. I think this is more sort of universally understood. Probably the best places to do writs. Vivec City is one of the best. Deshan is really good because everything's in a close proximity. The only thing in Deshan is the cooking station can be a bit annoying. The areas of Somerset are good. The only one I really wouldn't bother with is like Rothgar or Sinium, because everything's like indoors and like far away from each other, and the drop-off location's like so far away. So yeah, I think fuck they do that one anymore. So yeah, well, Craiglawn's not too bad either, but everything is a bit distant as well. Yeah, mostly just Deshan, Vardenfell, or Somerset. Those are the ones I would choose. Also because the location is pretty close to or where you hand it in. So for example, the one for Deshan is literally right outside the walls from where the crafting stations are. Also, you will need some materials for each of these, because each one is basically just craft a bunch of items and hand them in, and it's going to cost you materials. Now, the materials will always be based on the crafting level, or the crafting passive that you've got here. So if you're 5 out of 10, for example, and I think it's Ebon or Calcinium, I can't remember which one, it will require Ebon or Calcinium based items. So yeah, it'll keep up with you. Now, I personally think that the easiest writ to do will be level 10 or level 1 of the passives, because those tend to be the 2 materials that are most common. And iron is arguably one of the cheapest, and rubidite, as an example here, you've got the lowest and the highest level materials. They are more expensive, but the amount of them on guild stores is like quite common, so the prices are pretty reliable, I find, for these ones, as compared to some of the other ones, which can be a little bit weird, aside from iron. But the max level ones, while they are more expensive, you get the highest possible chance to get the golden materials, which is kind of the main reason you do writs. That's why writs are such a good option for quests, because you also get a lot of good shit. You get, like, as an example of blacksmithing writs, you get tempering alloys, you get other materials that you can use for blacksmithing stuff. So if you want to level characters, you can make your own leveling gear with the materials that you get, basically. You get surveys, which are awesome. With surveys, you can basically create like a closed loop cycle where you craft with the materials, and then the surveys give you back more materials to craft with. And you can also, sometimes you can get more materials than you put in, so you can either sell those or use those for your own gear, stuff like that. So there's a lot of good things. You also get intricates, which you can use to deconstruct on other characters to level up their crafting and get them on writs. It's such a good thing to get into the habit of doing. So it's not just to be able to do the quests easily, it's also to do a lot of other stuff to establish yourself in this game. So I do suggest writs if you can, but they do require a significant investment to start off with. So yeah, I understand if that's a problem. So getting materials, you want to use guild stores. You obviously can farm it yourself, but I would only really farm it, especially with surveys, if you've got 2 champion points. So Master Gatherer here, try and max that out, and especially Plentiful Harvest. This is probably the most important one, because it means you get more yield with everything you find. And for surveys, that's very important, because this allows you to become a closed cycle, basically. So when you're on the lookout for some crafting materials, we're in a lot of luck here, because a lot of this stuff's quite good price, and there's a lot of it here. But you can see what I mean. This is these 2 here. Iron, I know there's some stuff here, but like comparing to how much rubidite there is crazy. And yeah, like iron ingots usually pretty common as well, and pretty cheap. But if you're struggling to find anything that you want to use, what I would advise you do is you use this website here. I'll make sure this is in the description. So this is Tamriel Trade Center. So basically it puts everything that you can find on guild stores in this game, and sort of lists it so you can search it up. So as an example, like say you're looking for iron ingots, so we'll go iron ingot, and then in the advanced search, what you can do, let me just increase the size of this, you can go amount, so you can, if you want lower amounts that will cost less gold, because there's a way to like get some early game gold that's like, it's a bit too expensive to get a full stack, but a lower amount you can kind of do it, and it doesn't take very long. So maybe you want to go 1 to 25. That's probably the most amount you'll use. Like, because iron ingots you don't use many of them in the early stage writs. Yeah, we'll go 0 gold to we'll go 8 gold, because yeah, they should be pretty cheap. And what you can do is search this up. So it'll show you every amount of iron ingots here that's 25 items or below, and it will list them all. So you can see there's some pretty cheap amounts here. So you can just do these writs on a new character, And yeah, do this a bunch of times. That's a bunch of quests really easily, and you will get some things like surveys. The thing about surveys is they're always 12.5% chance from every writ, regardless of how far you are in the crafting line. So even if you're like from level 1 to 10, you still get the same amount of surveys. So as long as your champion points are enough to get sorry, I can't remember the name. Plentiful Harvest. You can just create a closed loop straight away with this sort of thing. Now, I'll just quickly go through how to start writs, and then I'll go through the other quest options here. But the way you do this is there's some writ certifiers, and you find them in specific locations. There are unanimous locations in the DLC zones, and there's also the starting zones where it's alliance dependent. But I'll just go through the alliance dependent ones because they're, I find these ones to be easier to use and reach than the other ones. You have. So you want to go to Vivek City here. Start with this way shrine from State of Neen, and you just go southeast a bit. Get this way shrine, get this way shrine, and then you've got access to them. So what you want to do is come up the stairs here around the, sorry, I can't remember which side this is. Canton of St. Dylan the Wise, this one. So you go up the stairs from here, and then you can go into the Wasteworks here. I believe this is the way to get here. It's been a while, sorry. So look for these, the Fighters Guild icon, and the Major Guild's the other one. I think it's on the other side. But yeah, so you can find, as long as you find one of these icons, you find the door into these areas here, and this door and the Fighters Guild here will link to the other one. So in this case, Milaneth is right here. This is the character you talk to for the clothing, the blacksmithing, and the woodworking writs. So you can speak to her to start those. She'll have a quest icon above her head if you can do them. And then come down here to the stairs, and you can travel from one guild to the other. And once you go up these stairs and go into the next room, you'll see Danel Tolino is here. So he provides the enchanting, alchemy, and provisioning writs. So all you do is just talk to them and start these writs. If your level, if your level is high enough, you can just skip it. I think the level to do that is 25, but I can't remember off the top of my head, sorry. If you have access to Somerset and can do jury writs as well, you can also find all three of these NPCs to do all the certifications here in Somerset, in Alinor, over here, and I'll show you where to find them all. Firstly, Alinor is a bit of a trek from Shimmering Wayshrine. You can skip that using home tours. There's a video in the description for home tours, how it works. It's pretty damn helpful system. Golden Griffin Grey or Alinor Crest Townhouse, these can be used to skip this long travel over here and just head straight to Alinor. So from here, firstly, Milaneth is right here next to the Wayshrine, just outside the Fighters Guild right here. So this is how you start your equipment writs in Alinor. Here is Danel Tolino for the other three, so Alchemy, Enchanting, and Provisioning. So he can be found just at the side of the bridge here, next to the Riverside Market. And on the other side of the bridge is Felarian over here. So this is the guy to start your jury crafting writs. So once you talk to all of them and get signed off on all these writs, that's 7 quests per day that you can complete really easily, and it gives you a lot of practical shit. So again, I do recommend starting these up if you can. It is a lot of work to get these established, but again, they are so damn helpful to do. Now, I'll just discuss quickly the other option, which is completing quests on like a typical established character. The only one I would personally bother with is anything related to the zone story quests, because these always give you skill points, as opposed to the other ones which just give you gold and XP. And these tend to give you more gold and a significant amount of XP. Most quests do in Overland, but yeah. These are just because of the skill points, because especially on like, if you want to set up writs, you do need a lot of skill points naturally, so this is a pretty good way, because you also get XP. So in this case, all you have to do is just, anytime you go into a zone that you want to do quests in, just make sure you check the zone guide here in the group tab, and just make sure it's selected the zone here, and you'll click this button here, and it'll say start the zone story, it'll continue. And what it'll do is, when you click this, it will show you where to find the next quest. So in this case, Addon, the only one I haven't done is over here, and that's just because I didn't do Dawnbreak. I skipped it because sometimes you can skip quests that don't give you skill points, and you can just go straight to the next one. But yeah, if you're not too familiar with the quests in either of these places, just do the whole thing, naturally. If you go to the UESP web like pages for zones, as an example here, if I go Addon, audio run, oops. The quests with these blue outlines on USP for the zone guide, these are the ones that give you skill points. You can see it here, donates a quest which towards a skill point. Some of these can be skipped. In this case, I didn't do Dawnbreak. I did Veil Falls, and I jumped straight to First Hold. So you don't always have to do the quest in order, but it can be a little bit complicated to know which things to do and which to not. I only know that because I've done them like fucking 10 times. So yeah, you can do that stuff, and it can speed it up a little bit. But if you're not too familiar, just follow the zone guide. It's not that much different, and you do get gold, so it's not really a big deal. Okay, so the last option, which if you don't have writs and you don't want to bother with lengthy quests, you can also create a sacrificial character, do a bunch of quests on them, delete them, and just repeat the process, because these are some quests that are basically you just go to a place and talk to a character for a bunch of time, and it just completes a quest, basically. So really easy to do, and you can just repeat the process over and over. So what you want to do is just create a character. It doesn't matter what you make, just anything, and then just call them anything. So in this case, I'll just call it Sacrifice. Actually, no, I'll call it Quest and Dev. And then just create, skip. And then if that doesn't work, if the name's taken, just maybe it's like put your forehead on your keyboard and see what name it comes up with. So that I think it should be okay. Not always. I think if you put the same letter more than 2 times, it doesn't let you do it. It's very very specific, this this name system. But yeah, as long as you just maybe use like a name generator that creates something that you can use. Because there's the racial name generators that you can use on fantasy generator or some shit like that. There's one for each of the races, so you could use that too. Because yeah, odds are you will not find a name that somebody else has. So yeah, just waiting for this load screen. It will be quite long because creating a new character does take up quite a bit of time. As soon as you jump in, the first thing you want to do is, if you've got add-ons, just move all the shit out of the way. But after that, you want to type /stuck, because naturally, if you're stuck somewhere, you can pay some gold to get to a way shrine automatically without having to move. But in this case, we do not have any gold, so it won't cost us anything to move. So that's the first thing I tend to do. Also, I need to make sure I put some drip on this character because they don't want them running around looking like they're homeless. Go scout. So, firstly, just go to the way shrine that you're taken to. Might look a bit different depending on which alliance you've joined. But now what you want to do is immediately go to Addon here, or you could go to Glenumbra. It's probably better going to Glenumbra, actually. So what you're doing is you're talking to Philan Demery, who will give you a house for free. She'll give you a bit of gold too. You got the Mages and the Fighters Guild, and you've got the Prophet, who you can talk to as well. To start off with the Prophet, just talk to him, get him out of here. First thing you want to do is just go to the Rosy Lion, so go to the tavern that's nearby in Addon as well, if you're going to do it there. Philan Demery will be in this places. She'll have a quest icon above her head, so we just go over and talk to them. So just press the talk button over and over. There we go, we've got some gold and a quest done. That's one already, so we go to quest here. Yeah, we'll get one done straight away. Now, if you do want to speed up this process, you can just go to your champion points, get Steve's Blessing, just put points into this, and then in the red tree, go Sprinter and Hasty and Celerity. That increases your movement speed. It just makes it just a little bit quicker to run through. So we come up here, we've got the Fighters Guild. You'll find an NPC in here you can talk to, and you literally just talk to them again. That'll complete another quest. So keep pressing the talk button. You also will likely level up some skills here. So what you can do is maybe before you do this on a new character, grab this, grab the great sword in your inventory, the Iron Greatsword, kill an enemy with it, and it'll level you up or it'll unlock the two-handed skill line. And while you do these quests, you might level up a couple of times for two-handed. So at the same time, you can also do the leveling challenge that comes up. Where is it? Yeah, 10 ranks in skill line right here. So you could do the same thing using that. And now to the Mage's Guild, we do the same thing. So there'll be an NPC in here. Just talk to her and a mark. And we're done. So that's 3 quests, really easily. So the next quest you can do is, now that we've received the quest from the Harborage, you just go show on map. It'll show you where to find it on the map. So you can find it in Stonefalls here. These will always be right next to a way shrine that you unlock as soon as you start the game. So it's easy to get to these places. It just takes a little bit running there. The quest itself is a bit longer to do than the other ones, but there's no fighting involved or anything. You're just listening to the prophet ramble on. So while you watch YouTube or something in the background, just have this going, and yeah, you just get this one done naturally too. The 5th one, it requires you to have the Greymore DLC. Unfortunately, it is a DLC option. It's not going to be DLC for too long. Apparently, they're making the space game in the near future. But for now, it will be something that you have to spend money on. But it's another easy quest to do. So either use this way shrine that takes you to the Solitude Docks, or you can use Proud Spire Manor. It's a house that's people might be familiar with who played Skyrim. You can use either of those options to enter Western Skyrim in Solitude. So what we're headed to is this building here, the Antiquarian Circle. So here we are, we're at the Antiquarian Circle now. Just head inside, you'll see a quest icon there for Verita Numida. That's what you're looking for. So go to Verita, talk to her for a bit, and then turn around, Antiquarian's Eye, examine, back to Verita, and that's it. That's another quest done. Now you can do the quest to learn about scrying. It's just one of the easiest scries in the game. You can probably do that at level 1 as well. So that's another quest you can do if you want to do it, but you don't have to. So that's 5 quests in total. If you do the Harborage one as well. And if you level up the character just a little bit more, at level 6 I believe, you unlock the writs. And then you can do those certifications if you want to. Because the certifications are also fucking mind-blowingly easy. All the stuff is instant, so it's like you don't have to actually worry about other players taking the stuff you want to find. So yeah, at this point, you just log out on the character, delete them, and create a new one, and just repeat this process until you get the quest endeavor done. But it's, yeah, as you can see here, it's just, no matter where you are in this game, no matter how far you progress, this is one that you can just do really easily. The only, I think, limitation is if you've already created, like, 8 characters and maxed out all your character slots. But at that point, you probably should have the ability to do writs at that point. I would hope so. If not, just, yeah, maybe delete one of those characters and do it again. Or just, yeah, get your shit together, lock in and get those writs done, I think. Alright, so now let's look at a bit of a more complicated one, but I think you should do Dolmens to clear up a bunch of these. So firstly, incursions. Dolmens count as incursions. There are a bunch of others, but Dolmens are one of the easiest incursions, and they're one that always guarantee you to get a treasure chest. Also, you'll defeat enemies while completing Dolmens. Each one will give you anywhere between like 30 or 25 to sometimes 50 or 60. So it's a pretty gradual way to get this one done, and then you can just get the rest later. Also, same thing with class skills. I feel like maybe I should talk about this one first, but you kind of do this one later after you do everything else, I think. So I'll talk about specializing with this one later. Basically, just like trying to have a single target skill related to your class skill lines, and maybe just like a couple of AoE and damage over time ones as well. So, example, I've got these ones here, and then I've got this stuff is here as well. It's like class stuff. And yeah, you can just get all these done gradually as you go. Also, ranks in the skill line. Try to do this on a character that's like low level with a weapon that, or a weapon that they haven't used before. As an example here, what I could probably do is go like one-handed shield, because I've got so few levels in it, and I could just rush a bunch of levels this way. Or what you could do later, after doing this a bunch of times and collecting a bunch of items from the like dead bodies and from the chests and stuff, preferably do this on a high level character and put all the items onto a low level character, Because what you'll do is you'll get a bunch of these items, they deconstruct them, and their craft levels up for deconstructing them. This also impacts the earn ranks to the skill line option. So naturally, Dolmens will give you sort of push to get a bunch of the other stuff done, or at least progress them a significant amount, and then you can just do the rest later. Alright, so, Dolmens. I assume most people know about these, but you're just looking for the swirly icons in the base game zones. All the 5 DC zones, so you've got these ones here, the EP ones over here, and then the AD ones over here. They all have Dolmens in them. As I said, there's also incursions in other places, but they either are fucking painstakingly difficult, or in most other cases, the loot at the end don't count as chests. So it's just, I think it's overcomplicating it. Just keep it simple, do Dolmens. They're easy, they always count, and they're always constantly up. So I just don't suggest anything else. So the first thing I suggest you do is just pick a zone to do Dolmens in. Naturally, I think the best zones to do, Alika is probably the best, because there's like constantly players around doing them, and there's always like a group that tends to auto-invite you if you use the right wording in the zone chat. I think it's either plus Dolmen, plus group, or type Z, type Y, or type X, and press enter. I think those are the ways. I can't remember if it's EU that does XYZ, or if it's NA. But just type any of those and see if they work. If they don't work, just maybe like ask in zone if anyone's doing groups there and what the words are. Maybe someone will get back to you. Yeah, that or Auradon is pretty good because all the Wayshrines are close to the Dolmens here. Deshine is also another one I tend to like using, just because the Dolmens here give you Mother's Sorrow, which is a pretty good set to get your hands on. If you get Purple Jewelry, it tends to sell for a decent amount, but only at book level, so yeah. That being said, any of these Dolmens give you Purple Jewelry, which will sell for a little bit, because purple quality jewelry materials are pretty good to sell. Nowhere near as crazy as they used to be, but yeah. So all we got to do is just wait for one of these to spawn. As an example here, I'm just going to go to this one. So it'll always follow the same pattern. In Auradon, for example, it's always the bottom one, the middle one, and then the top one, and then it resets to the bottom one. So you can see this one's up. Oops, missed the mount button, I shouldn't have done that. So I'm just going to travel to this one, and then I'm going to start it up. So I'll just go through a few like most important things to look at with Dolmens to make them a bit easier. They are really easy. Like, if you can complete quests in zone, you can complete this shit. It's really easy to do. Bring out a companion if you can, especially if you want to get levels up, because companions will just like light attack the enemies automatically. It just means like less work for you to get XP in. Yeah, the initial enemies here are pretty weak. Just use an AoE skill or two. They'll die pretty quick. Now, these enemies here, what I suggest you do is prioritize enemies that use range attacks. There's none here. The Daedalus has like a couple of range attacks, but nothing crazy. Like range special attacks. But everything here is melee, so just stay on the big targets usually, that's what I do, because you want to kill them. They'll take longer to kill, so naturally everything else will die around it. And as you go, when you defeat these enemies here, you will open up these pinions. These will give you all your resources back. So what they allow you to do is, once you kill enough enemies and open them up, you can just get your resources back and just keep fighting. Yeah, killing more of them. Another player's shown up. Naturally, if you do this in Auradon, Alika Desert, or maybe Deshan, there will probably be other people running around doing the same thing. And as other people arrive, more enemies will show up, which will allow you to do the defeat enemies or blast kills one quicker. So yeah, that's also worth trying to do. Trying to do these ones, because it just tends to be more players show up with this stuff. Whereas the other zones, not so much. So again, just closing these whenever they show up. If other people close them, you still get the resource restore. So don't worry about closing them yourself if other people are doing it. Just maybe if you want to control when you get the resources, maybe try it yourself. But hard to control that when there's other people around. So if you want XP, quantity over quality, try and just like give everything a tap when you come through, or a slap. Because, yeah, everything you deal a bit of damage to, you'll get XP for, so... And it's not like... It's not dependent on how much damage you do or anything. It's just, if you do a bit of damage, the middle will work. And 3 enemies here, just use a few AoE skills to get some damage in. Anyway, these guys here, you get as much XP from these little dudes here as you do for the big guys, so I tend to focus on getting kills on these ones. And there you go. So that's the Dolmen done. The pinion here will open up. The chest here will open up. And you just loot this. You'll get a piece of jewelry. There you go, we've got a purple jewelry piece, so we can probably sell that for just a little bit. A grand there, it's not too bad. And then that will complete the class skills, incursions, defeat enemies, the treasure chest option down here. And you'll also likely complete ranks in the skill line. You'll also probably complete the ultimate ones if you haven't done that yet. And if you do the Dolmen quest for the Fighters Guild, that's also a quest, I suppose, but I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Just do the other options, I think. You know, you can do other stuff. You can do resources from the world while you run through and collect materials here. I think that's kind of it, though, that you're going to get from this. But still, that's a lot of things that you can get just for trying to complete incursions. So naturally, I'd try and do this first. So with this Dolmen in particular, I will show you a little thing here. You can jump over this spot here if you've got a fast mount. And that skips a little bit of the travel to Matisse and Whitestrakes. And then just go here. Repeat this process in Addon until you get the incursions done. And then focus on other stuff. Alright, so now time to look at crafting with any skill. Now first off, if you do writs for quests, you're likely going to get this one done as you do those. So just be aware of that. But if you're not going to do writs, this option here, what I would recommend you do is come to Craglorn here, into Belkarth, the main city or main town, and you want to use the orchids down here. So firstly, if you've never been to Belkarth before, you won't have any wayshrines naturally. So what you need to do is use either someone to bring you here, or you can use home tours to just travel here. So you can use Eleanor Private Arena to get here pretty quick, but just be aware any house you travel to in Craglorn, as soon as you enter the zone itself from those houses, this wayshrine will unlock naturally. So you just travel to the nearest wayshrine, whether you just travel there on foot or if you just die and visit a wayshrine, just travel to Belkarth, and at that point you're here, it's all good. Now, crafting with any skill, anytime I do this, I would recommend using apples and the baked apples recipe from Chef, because alongside the banana surprise recipe for, like, you know, if you want to use the Addon Pier version instead, because that's not stolen, but this is without a doubt the quickest way. So all you really need is the baked apples recipe. And you can get these from any chef. You can use it at level 1, and as soon as you bought the recipe, you don't need to actually spend any more gold other than that. And it's pretty easy to do. So the first thing you need to do is find a chef. The Craglorn, Belkarth has one. Every town has a chef that you can speak to for this recipe. But Igaria in this case is the one you want to talk to here. So baked apples here. This is the only recipe you need. You want banana surprise if you're going to use the Addon Pier, which I'll show you just in a bit. The only difference is that this stuff here is stolen. So if you get a bounty, it can be a problem. So if you don't want to deal with that shit, I'll just show you the other method too. But this is without a doubt the fastest way to just like craft a bunch of stuff really quick. And once you've got these recipes, you don't ever need to spend any gold on this challenge anytime it comes up. Any crafting with any skill, any crafting with provisioning, this is the way to do it. And yeah, it really doesn't have many problems, I don't think, if at all. So this orchid here, this is the reason you're here. So around all of these orchids, you'll find baskets of apples. And all you need to do is just firstly go to settings, gameplay, and set auto loot stolen items on. Now obviously you don't have to use this if you want to be a bit more precise, but around here there's only 2 people you want to worry about. Bubhug over here, and there is a Belkarth guard somewhere around here as well. As long as you have eyes on these 2 people here, and if you want to make it so you can just like see them a little bit better, go down to prevent attacking innocents here, turn that off, so it'll add a white outline to them whenever you actually see them. So just can be making them a little bit easier to spot. Also, if that's not working, just make sure in nameplates target glow is set to on, otherwise it won't work either. So as long as you know where these guys are, you can basically know where you can just loot stuff without there being any problems. Now you don't have to be in stealth. I can just take the stuff here and it's not a problem. But if you're not too familiar with stealing stuff in this game, it might be a good idea just to stay hidden, just in case. Yeah, it's pretty damn easy to go through and steal all this stuff. And there are a lot of apple baskets. So that's 5 there. Some of these will be empty. That's just the way containers work in this game. Don't worry, it's completely normal. But there's 5 here you want to search. If you come over here, there's another group. There's 4, I believe. Yeah, so apple basket here, here, over here, and over here. And then you come down here, over to these trees over here. There'll be some more there. Over this way, you've got more over here, over here. Got more over here, next to these trees too. And then from here, basically, you can just go back to the start. And then, so if you've exhausted all the apple baskets and you're just not going to have enough for being able to do this in one go, what you do is you just have to leave the zone, and that resets all the containers, which also counts for baskets. The regular way is just go to the way shrine, leave, and come back, but there is a quick way to do this if you use Imperial City. The only thing is you need to be level 10 for this, so if you have a character that's below level 10, you're just going to have to use the way shrine method. But yeah, most people will have a character over level 10, I assume. So just enter Imperial City. You'll end up in a safe zone that all you have to do is just turn around, go to a tunnel, and so in this case, you'll see the tunnel here. It's always this tunnel with the gate. It's never the other one, which is like right at the entrance. So just use this exit here. It'll take you back out to where you were, literally the spot that you came in from. So you can use that to basically teleport out and back to the spot really quickly. And as you can see, the apples are back in the baskets here. I'm just going to go ahead and take all these. And so in that case, you can just collect all your apples again, and just repeat that process until you get 50. Now, as you level up provisioning on a character, you won't need 50. You can do it with 25, 13. Yeah, you'll just be able to make more of each. You can get more from each ingredient. So we go to the cooking fire here, and we go baked apples here. So obviously you've got the other one, banana surprise, but right now we've got 23 baked apples. So there you go. Just craft those, and that's the Golden Pursuit option done there, basically. So yeah, you can see... Oh wait, that was 10? Oh yeah, sorry, I'm dumb. I've got an add-on, and every time we right-click it does 10. Sorry. So yeah, you can just craft all those, and then, yeah, that's it. So yeah, the crafting in multiples does work here. Sorry, I didn't read that properly. Alright, let me just show you the non-stolen way, if you don't want to have to worry about a bounty. But honestly, this option here in Belkarth is all you need. So the other location is the pier in Oridon on the southern side over here. Now basically where this square-shaped pier is, there'll be 2 apple baskets, one here and one over here. There's a tray, and it's got a bunch of bananas and apples in it. So over here. So take all this stuff, and you just do the same thing. So the cooking fire is literally right here. So you just craft them all in the same way. The only thing is there's only a few. So it's going to take quite a few goes of this to get as many as you need. But yeah, 1, you can just use the Imperial City method to just keep resetting the place. And 2, nothing here is stolen, so you don't have to worry about that. You just come here, take everything, and go. So it's very simple. Very low thinking. Yeah, if you need a chef to buy these recipes from, just down the road from across where the square pier is, over here, you've got a chef as well. So you can just go and buy the recipes from her as well. So yeah, it's pretty easy to get the crafting one done in this game. And yeah, like I said, as soon as you buy these recipes, just do this anytime these options come up in any Golden Pursuit or Weekly Endeavor or Daily Endeavor from this point on. It's just a great option that you should always try and choose. Alright, now let's take a look at improving items. This one here, really good, really quick, and will probably be very cheap. The main problem is getting your hands on the improvement materials. The items themselves are pretty damn easy. So what you need to do is get yourself... What I recommend you do is either get yourself some honing stones or some hemming. The reason I suggest these over anything else is because they tend to be cheaper than the other stuff. On NA especially, like, it's just like 50 gold a piece. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that stuff, but hemming is like 8 gold a piece.
And yeah, honing stone's like 8 gold a piece. Dual crafting turns, not too bad, but yeah, still more expensive than the other options. The blue ones for clothing and blacksmithing and woodworking are fine too. If you've got a green, like pair of green items to do, obviously you can do that instead. But just for some reason, pitch is so expensive that I just wouldn't recommend woodworking stuff. I'd only recommend clothing and blacksmithing. So, one thing to go through before that, if you want to source them yourself, in the long run, like not now, because it's probably going to be just really unreliable at this case, but the hirelings are, I think, the best way to get these things naturally. Obviously, you can deconstruct items, but that's just like a chance way. This one here basically guarantees you get a bunch of items over time. So what these do is you put points in them, skill points, and each day you'll get a bunch of materials that come up through the mail. And sometimes you will get things like hemming, embroidery, all that stuff to use on your items. So that's the way I suggest you do for the long term if you want to play this game for the future. Now, you also probably want to get the expertise passives in all of these, because this will reduce the amount of items you need to upgrade. But if you just want to do ones like this, it's only 2 items, that's going to be 5 hemming each, or 7 of the blue ones each. So it's 10 of the green ones or 14 of the blue ones, which that's not very expensive. That's like maybe 100, 200 gold tops. So in that case, that kind of gold is really easy to get. Like, you've got the 30k gold option, which you'll probably get at this point if you've been doing the other options before this one, chronologically. Or, that kind of gold you can get in like like 10 minutes flat. Like, you can get that using the Endeavors prep in the description, like I've said earlier. Same thing with all the recipes and stuff. So that's what I recommend. Now, what I recommend you do to search for these things is to use Tamriel Trade Center. This is a website that has been created for ESO, and it just lists basically everything on guild stores that you can search for. It's not super duper accurate, like it doesn't, like especially for stuff that's been around for like several hours, like it doesn't update too quickly as far as I'm aware, but usually it's fine. So all you need to do is just type in the upgrade material type. So you just go hemming in this case. Go advanced search. Probably don't go anything more than... So anything between 1 and 10. And go the unit price. Anything between 0 and 10 is probably enough as well. And then just search for that. And you can see here there's a heap of options here. And you can just buy a bunch for like a pretty low amount of gold. So those two together would be... yeah. 10 in total, that's all you need, and that's like 60 gold. That's fucking nothing. So yeah, I'd just do something like that. The only problem is there's not many of these options here, and naturally there'll be, most of this will just be stacks of 200. That will be just slightly expensive, but look, in my personal opinion, yeah, there you go, that one's probably not too bad either. Buying 200 for the long term for doing an endeavor like this is worthwhile, because you're basically spending $2,000 to do a lot of weekly or daily endeavors and like golden pursuits really easily for like a year, because that amount, that will last you fucking ages. So in my opinion, that's worth your time, but that's your call to make, obviously. Alright, so I've got enough items to upgrade. Now you just need to find some things to improve the quality of, to do this endeavor. This is the really easy bit. All you need is Imperial City or White Gold Tower. I'll show you why. So this is the one you use above level 10. If you don't have a level 10 option for a character, just use the White Gold Tower option. So all you need to do is just queue for Imperial City. It's the same as if you want to reset all the crafting with any skill stuff for the provisioning recipes. So you just come in here. This time instead though, you are staying and you're trying to collect some items. So I'm going to use Honing Stone. You want to look for the items that correlate to what upgrade material you have. So in this case it's a blacksmithing one. If it's clothing, you want light or medium armor. If you've got woodworking ones, you go bows, staves, or shields. And blacksmithing, you have a lot of opportunities. So great swords here, we'll just take a couple of those. You can take heavy armor, you can take any of the metallic weapons, that's fine. But yeah, I've got 2 of those, that's all I need. So I'll just come over here. There'll be this room with all the crafting stations in it, that's what you need to look for. So in this case, I've got the blacksmithing station over here. Just go to the improvement tab up here, just grab one of these items, upgrade it there. and then go to the other one, upgrade that, and that's it. And there you go. That's the upgrading one, or the improving one done. There you go. Now to leave Imperial City, you just go to the tunnel here. To the tunnel with the gate in it. Just go through there to the exit. That will take you back out to Overland, and you're done. So if you don't have a character able to go to Imperial City, just go to any way shrine, go to the Cyrodiil zone, and just look for White Gold Tower here. Now you do need Imperial City as a DLC, but this is free, so everybody's got access to this. So once you get into White Gold Tower, just look for items on the ground or in the Trophy Vault room, and you'll be able to pick them up and upgrade those. So blacksmithing, you've got great swords all over the floor from all these dead bodies here. As an example, there's one there. Same thing with woodworking ones. You've got a shield there, a bunch of weapons on this, and a lot of these bodies have a great sword and a shield. So you can grab a bunch from them. If you need clothing, just come into this room here, the Daedric Embers Trophy Vault. There'll be a bunch of tables here with some light and medium and heavy armor on them, so you can just use that stuff. Let's grab the coins while you're here. This is the place I use for the gold tutorial for the Endeavors prep. You might be familiar with that. So yeah, you just come in here, grab these items, and then leave and upgrade something. There's unfortunately no crafting station in here that you can use to upgrade the stuff, but that's also very easy to do. I'll show you what to do there. So as soon as you leave, you want to do the same thing basically, except instead of another dungeon, you've got trial in this case. Because the trials actually have crafting stations in them. In this case, just go to Vocal Guard, go to Halls of Fabrication. I'm only choosing this one because it's the base game option. Everybody's got this one, and it's unlocked as soon as you start the game to travel to. So yeah, everyone can just travel here at ease. With ease, sorry. So when you get in, just look to the northwest. There's the blacksmithing station. Same thing, so just come here, grab the items there, and yeah, just upgrade them there. Also, probably worth deconstructing them, because you get some of the stuff back to use in the future. I didn't get anything there, but yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So yeah, that's it. That's all you need to do to improve items in this game. Now I'll make sure the website for Tamriel Trade Center is in the description below if you'd like to search it yourself. Just keep in mind you need to make sure you're on the right server here, and also just check the console or PC version that you're on, just to make sure. Otherwise, you might be searching the wrong server or console. I've definitely done that before by accident. Alright, let's move on. Alright, next up, looking at scribing a skill. Now, you don't have to go to the Scholarium to do this. You can probably find scribing altars in guild stores, or guild halls, sorry. And a little while ago, there was a Golden Pursuit, which the final reward was scribing altar. So you might have one of these in your home. So just check and find one of these. Now, you can, if you've already got one active, like a scribing skill active, you can just, for example, I've got like this one set right now. You could just change one of the options here and just do that to change one. So you don't actually have to create a new one. You can just alter one you currently got. So in order to do this, you need the luminous ink. These can be they're going to be pretty common these days because they come up pretty frequently in the daily rewards or the monthly rewards. So you can see we've got one 7 days in for this monthly reward set, and they tend to be in the monthly rewards these days. Also, you can buy them from guild stores. They're pretty damn cheap these days. Yeah, 40 gold a piece. So it's just, you need 3 of them, or you need one. Like, you probably only need 1. You might need 3 though, just depending on the scripts that you have available. Because if you change it from one thing to another, some scripts don't work. Like, as an example, if I tried to change this to damage, I wouldn't be able to use some of these. I don't think. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe I can. Never mind. Sorry, because I don't think... You can't put maim... Nah, see, that's what I mean there. So, you can't put maim on one with a heal on it. So you might have to change some of these up and use some extras. So just keep that in mind, because yeah, that's a problem. So just to be sure, probably just buy 3 of these. But they're fucking cheap these days. So yeah, that shouldn't really be a problem. Now, if you've never done a scribe skill in your life, if you want to know how to do second era of scribing, let me go through the quickest way to do it. So I've just jumped on a new character who hasn't done the scribing questline before, so I'm just going to just go through how I would personally run through this as quick as possible. Now, if you want to do the full scribing questline from second era of scribing all the way to the end, I do have a video set for that, so I do recommend just checking that out. I'll link those in the description too. But yeah, it's a couple of hours of stuff there, but you know, can be pretty helpful, maybe, I think. So start off by going to home tours, and you want to go, if you've got this house already you can use your own, but you want to look for, yeah, this one here, Flamin' Nix Deluxe Garret. So just search that in all houses, or if there's one here, just use that. Now I've got my own here, so I can just travel to my own. It's better if you got your own because you can travel outside of your house instead of inside, so it just saves you like a minute of messing around, basically. Right, so here we are. The reason I go to Deshan here is because you can find the starting quest for second era scribing over here. You can find it in a couple of other places. If you have the Gold Road DLC, you can find it in Westfield. If you start it this way, Sean, you just go into the city from the north. Just come up here, through here, down this way, you'll find it here. But this is an option available for everybody, regardless of what DLCs you own. So yeah, just recommend you take a look at this one too. So you'll find the guy here. This guy is who you're looking for. So you speak to this guy, he'll open up the quest portal, and so you just head through here to Sunimir, and this will begin the scribing quest line. So I'll just skip this bit because, you know, don't want to spoil anything, I suppose. I'll just run straight to when you first scribe your skill. At the part where you have to find the replacement crystal, you can get past these guys without fighting them. They will aggro to you, but if you're quick, you can just not give a shit about this guy. If I just quickly loot this thing before he hits me, there you go. So you won't be able to do that if he hits you early. It just, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. It's just a bit RNG heavy. But yeah, you can just run away from him. Like, he doesn't follow you too far. So you just run over and just go to the altar, place it, and now you can use the altar with Wield, Soul, Magic Damage, Lingering Torment. Breach, doesn't cost you anything. There you go. You've scrubbed your first skill. That Golden Pursuit option is done. Okay, so now I'm going to cover treasure chests specifically alongside picking locks, because these two are kind of synonymous with each other, I think. So I did mention first that when you do incursions, specifically Dolmens, you'll also get chests every time you complete one. So for most of the treasure chests that you're going to get, I would say just do the incursions first so that you get both of those done, because incursions, Dolmens specifically, are really easy. And you know, it's a source of chests that you can get where the amount of players doing the content at the same time kind of doesn't matter. So yeah, I just suggest that first. But once you've done your incursions, there's two ways if you just want to look at treasure chests. There's the treasure maps way, which is a way that isn't impacted by other players, whereas the public dungeon option is. Because public dungeons potentially is quicker than doing Dolmens. Especially if you've got a fast character that can just ignore all the enemies. But yeah, other than that, treasure maps are just like, if it's too busy, and there's no combat involved, so it's just kind of straightforward. So I'll just cover this one first. So all you have to do is you need to find treasure maps or buy them yourself. So treasure maps come into the miscellaneous tab here under trophy, I believe it is. Yeah. So as an example here, just Telmani Peninsula treasure map. Now, naturally, a lot of the lower tier treasure maps are not going to be this expensive. In my personal opinion, the ones you want to look for are, so you just go into guild stores here, go into trophy, go treasure map here, and just search them up. You'll see a lot of cheap ones. The Glenmoral weird ones are pretty cheap. The ones you want to look at, though, I think, are there's the trainee zones, as well as Galen's pretty good, and something here, but the Artaeum treasure maps are also really good. So when I say the trainee zones, these are Bleakrock Isle over here, Belfoyen, Kanathi's Roost, Strospakar, you can probably already see what I'm coming out with this, Betnik, and then Artaeum over here. These zones are tiny. Same thing with things like Gold Coast,
Galen's a really small zone. Things like this are... The area is really small, so as soon as you unlock one-way shrine, which naturally happens with a lot of these places, the DLC stuff especially, you can basically cover the whole map in like a couple of minutes. So it just means, unlike these big zones that you're traveling through, you're not dealing with the travel. Like, imagine going through Vardenfell and trying to find a treasure map over here somewhere. It's like you either travel all the way over here or you use the home tours houses. But even then, like, some of these, if you get one out here, it's like the distance that you have to travel is usually long. So yeah. So in this case, I'm just going to grab just a Bleak Rock one that I saw here. I'll just buy one of these. So for an example, Bleak Rock Isle, it's tiny. There's one ray shrine in the entire thing, and this covers like every area that you can possibly get as a treasure map within like a minute if you've got a fast mount. If you haven't been here before, there's no home tours houses you can use. So what you do instead is go to Stonefalls with a way shrine unlocked as soon as you create characters, so it's easy to get here. And you just travel to the northeast side. The boatswain will be here. She takes you to Bleak Rock Isle. She also takes you to Valfoyn too. But I think getting to Valfoyn is better on foot, because you can just take this way shrine and just go straight southeast over here and get there. There's also 3 way shrines in Valfoyn, so this area might be better. It's also got a home tours house, so yeah. Most of the other trainee zones do have a home tours house. Moonmirth for Canathi's Roost. Stros Mackay has Hunding's Palatial Hall. Betnik has the Seaval Spire one. And yeah, even like Artaeum has a house, though it's in a bit out of the way for where all the treasure maps are. Yeah, Galen also has one, I believe. Yeah, right in the middle. That's good. Yeah, remember, Galen does need Fire Song though, so kind of annoying. Yeah, just use one of those, I think. You don't have to get these from guild stores. You can acquire these when you do incursions. You might get one. But will you get one that's easy to do? I don't know. It's random which zone you'll get a treasure map for. And some of the zones can be painful to get treasure maps in. Like, as an example, if you go to like Deshan over this side, for example, there's no home tours around here, like home tours houses. The closest one's over here, so naturally you have to run a whole way. Even if you have home tours, can be quite painful. Whereas these ones here, not so much. So if you don't have one of these trainee zones ones, I think just buy it. So there you go. There's a treasure map as an example there. 10. Now I'll show you the other method, which in my personal opinion is better, because it is picking locks at the same time. So you'll get 2 done at once. Also, defeating enemies, pass kills as well. You'll get all that stuff if you do public dungeons, naturally. Okay, so when it comes to public dungeons, these places, so Overland and public dungeons sort of share the same system where there will be specific locations for treasure chests, but the ones that spawn, they can randomly choose any of the locations that they're provided. So in an example here for Obsidian Scar, chests can spawn in any of these locations, but only a certain amount of chests can spawn in any of the given locations, so some will have one, some will not. Now the difference between this and the zone is that the amount of chests in this small area is quite dense, as opposed to the zone where sometimes you can just go through and not find a single chest out of like 10 locations. Whereas this one here, I reckon there's probably another 10 chests in here, so you tend to just find them all over the place. So what I'm going to do is just keep running through now and just check all the different locations, see if there's one there. Looks like someone's come through and checked the zone themselves, so maybe not. So there you go, there's one. So straight away, found one chest. And we can just stick in the corner here, no one will come close enough to stop us. And now here's the important bit. Do pick the lock, don't force it, because this will complete both the chest and you'll also complete the pick locks endeavor, which is going to be the longer one. Here's the thing, do these at the same time and then do pick locks later, because this is honestly the easier one later. So yeah, if you can just get both of these done at once, that's good. And also, if you do want to get more of the enemies one done, because there will be a lot of enemies in here, especially in places like Obsidian Scar, there's just fucking heaps of enemies in like tightly packed groups. Like in this group alone, there's like 7. There you go, that's one group. And I could just do that throughout this dungeon. There's another big group there, another big group over here. Yeah, you get the point. I think there's one in this room. There's different types of chests with different appearances. Oh, there's one there. There we go.
do another picking the locks challenge as well. Now, quite possibly one of the most interesting locations is over here. You can actually see one over here. So to get to this one, what you have to do is you could jump over to that other ledge down there, but you can also come up here, slowly come over, and then you can just slowly, while blocking, just move over here. And look at this, there's a fucking chest in there, in this spot. I was pretty chuffed when I found out that. Found it all on my own. So what I'll do is, in the description, I'll have these maps here for you to peruse if you want to use these public dungeons to look for chests. I do recommend this for this endeavor because it's probably the quickest way to get chests in the game, alongside picking locks, especially. So I have 4 that I've mapped out all the, or at least almost all of the chest locations for. So Obsidian Scar is one. This I think is worth it because I use the Vampirism Sprint build that I use. It uses Darkstride, and Darkstride comes from Obsidian Scar, so this is how you get that set. There's also, in Vankrai, you've got Razok's Wheel. I do suggest this one as well. If you want the lead for Ring of the Pale Order, if you haven't got it yet. Getting chests at the same time as that is, that's kind of the way to get one of the leads. Deshan is another one. Forgotten Crypts, this is where you get Mother's Sorrow. It's probably the one of the easiest to acquire like damage deal sets, particularly for Magicka, I think, because it's got a Magicka part of its 2 to 4 piece. But yeah, pretty easy to get and quite strong, dependable. You could get through most of the content in this game with a set of Order's Wrath and Mother's Sorrow. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's the set I used to clear Maelstrom Arena these days. Or False Gods, if you can get that. But yeah, Mother's Sorrow is like the base game one that's easy to get. Okay, so the last option I suggest is Western Skyrim for Labyrinthian. This one here gives you access to the Venomous Smite set, which is basically just like a stamina variation of Mother's Sorrow. That is also, you can use it on one bar, because it's a proc set that it has a cooldown that you can just like, you can skip a bar for a little bit and then just reapply it later. That's something that Mother's Sorrow doesn't really have. It's also got the 2 to 4 piece is just crit and weapon damage. So unlike Mother's Sorrow, which is Magicka, so you can use this either on Magicka or Stamina. It doesn't really matter which setup you use this on, medium armor or light armor. You just have to, if you want the jury for this, which is, if you want to use light armor, you just have to make sure you transmute the jury or reconstruct it in another trait. Because yeah, Robust won't really be too useful for a build using light armor, but that's just me. So yeah, I'll have an image for all these public dungeons, the chests in them, in the description. So just check that stuff out if you want. There'll just be Imgur posts for those. So you can just go to Overland, look for stuff as well. Now, Thieves' Troves actually count as treasure chests as well, so you can use these. The problem is, trying to find chests in the Overland, like Thieves' Troves and regular ones, can be a bit of a pain. But if you want to do this option instead of doing like public dungeons, I do recommend that, but this is just, you know, it's choice, so it's always good. Get an add-on called Map Pins. This is one I use quite frequently, because what Map Pins does is only really in the base game zones. I wouldn't try this in the new stuff, because I don't think it's been updated for those, but the old zones, a lot of chest locations are, you can see them in the Map Pins add-on. So all the blue ones are Thieves' Trove locations, all the white ones are chest locations. Preferably go for chests if you can, not Thieves' Troves, even though they do count, because chests give you the lockpicking one as well. So they will naturally be better in the long term. There's a chest there as an example. It's right on one of the map pin ones there. But yeah, you know, if you find any Thieves' Troves, just get that one done at the same time. Okay, so now I'll just show you one for just picking locks if you just want that option and you're not interested in the treasure chest one. Because yeah, you only need a few treasure chests, you need a lot more pick locks. So Skywatch, this is what I recommend you look into. Anytime picking locks comes up in a daily, this is what I use. But it's also good for weeklies and challenges here, because you can actually reset the locks here very quickly, and I'll show you how. So with picking locks here, you need to do this 5 times in a row. That is a bit of work, but it's a guaranteed source of 3 locks each time. So these doors here, you've got the simple locks on them. There's 3. So there's one here, at this house, one at this house, one at this house. So the only problem you'll have is these guards here. They will come past the doors, and when they do, they will spot you when they get close enough. So when you go through these, again, don't force the locks. It completely invalidates the play here. So open that door. Just run away so you don't go inside, because you don't want to do that. Could get a bounty from trespassing. So once the door's unlocked, just go to the next one. And the only thing you have to worry about is when these guards come up close, the little detection icon, it'll like go half open for a bit. Once that happens, probably just head out, because that means there's probably someone heading over. So when they come over, they'll go up to the door and then they'll turn around. Now, at this door over here, I find that they do spot you for just a moment when they're walking away. But once this guy turns around, he will walk away and you tend not to get spotted, as far as I've seen each time. So once they turn around, you are usually free just to open this door by picking the lock. Oops, missed one. So yeah, just run away again. But yeah, you just want to be careful of those guards. This one here, I haven't found the guards come close enough to spot you for this one. So this one usually is just free game. Fair game. Free game? Fair, I don't know. I don't know what the what this thing is there. But yeah, so 3 doors, 2 locks done. Now what do you do? Because you got to do a lot more. What you got to do now is just leave. So we'll go to the way shrine. Oh, bit of a bounce. We head down here to the way shrine. Just go anywhere. Doesn't matter where you go. Just whatever way shrine's quickest to click on. And then from here you just head straight back to Skywatch. Back in here, over here. And what this will do is it will reset the locks on these doors, and you can literally just repeat the process again. Oh, someone at light speed there. If we have a look, yep, the lock's back on. So just go hidden again, just pick the lock, and you're good to go. Thumbs up. And then yeah, these 2 doors will be open again, or locked, I should say. So just pick the locks on them again. Do the same thing to the way shrine, leave, come back, repeat the process as many times as you need. Now, one last thing. When the guards do spot you, try and just wait just a split second before doing it after you enter like the hidden state. So just wait a bit, wait just a bit longer, and now do it. Because sometimes I find when you enter the hidden state, it just reveals you again for just a split second. If you're at like a certain range where you can be hidden, but then you get detected again, and it just keeps repeating the process. It's really annoying. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah, it's just safe to wait a second before you enter the lockpicking thing. Because if you're not completely hidden, if you're still technically, like, if you haven't entered the invisible state yet, you're still considered to be out of stealth. So you don't want to, if you enter the lockpicking animation like right now, sorry, I'm just trying to demonstrate it. If I do this, I'm still technically in like this. If I try and do that, so if a guard's like anywhere nearby, they'll give you a bounty and come after you. So yeah, you just want to be a little careful here, because getting a bounty in this place is a pain in the ass, because there's so many guards around these houses. Yeah, there's not really much else to it. Just be mindful of those few guards. But usually, as soon as they come up to the door and turn around, you shouldn't have any issues. Alright, group dungeons. So I wouldn't touch the group dungeons. I just do the single one, because, yeah, a lot of these other options are, I think, easier to do. So the only 2 considerations I would make for this, to make it worth doing, is either doing a single Fungal Grotto 1, which will take like 3, 5, maybe 10 minutes if you're really slow. I don't think there is a dungeon that is anywhere near as fast as that one there, because you can skip basically everything except for the first and second main boss, which I think there's only 2 main bosses anyway. So the other option there is to check the pledges and see which ones are up. It will likely be different ones for you depending on like what day you watch this video on. But you want to look at the 2 pledges given by Major Regath and Glyrin. If you're not too familiar with pledges, they're daily dungeon challenges where you got to beat all the bosses and then you hand the quests in and you get keys, and these are how you get the monster shoulders. So it's worth it. This is like the only thing I would consider worth it for anything other than Fog Grotto 1. So the only the only 3 that I think are not worth doing. Oh yeah, Fungal Grotto 2 as well. So pretty much all of the second story versions of each dungeon, except for Spindle Clutch 2. Spindle Clutch 2 is pretty straightforward. On normal, I wouldn't do any of these on vet on your own. You can do them, but you have to be pretty. You have to know what you're doing. And is it worth doing for a Golden Pursuit? I don't think so. Yeah, Fungal Grotto 2, City of Ash 2. City of Ash 2 is actually not too bad, to be honest. The only ones, Fungal Grotto 2, Crit for Hearts 2, Banished Cells 2, I think they're like the only ones that aren't soloable to like a really to a practical degree. Like you could probably cheese a couple of them using something like Undo, but outside of that, it's very complicated. Or using companions, I suppose. But yeah, basically almost every dungeon you can solo. So Fungal Grotto, in this case, this is Fungal Grotto 2, so I wouldn't do that one. What's the other one? Crit of Hearts. Yeah, here you go. So Crit of Hearts 2, I wouldn't do this one either. Because, especially this one, because you get all the way, it's just fine until you get to the final boss. Same with Banished Cells 2. And then the final boss literally has a mechanic where he just stuns you and kills you. So, and you can't do anything about it. I think you might be able to, if your companion does enough damage, they can get through the shield. But I don't know if your companion gets stunned when you get stunned. I haven't actually tested that. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't solo this. It's difficult two-manning it at least. So yeah. And Banished Cells 2, it's kind of doable, but it's very buggy. The bubbles that he sends you up in will fucking you'll glitch and get stuck in the roof. And you'll just start taking damage even though you can't do anything from the Daedrus down below. And it just, I've done Banished Cells 2 on one of my videos actually. And yeah, I couldn't end up doing it just because it bugged the fuck out. I couldn't do anything for a while. So yeah, those are the only ones. Fungal Grotto 2, Banished Cells 2, and Crit for Hearts 2. I think they're the only ones I wouldn't bother with. And I guess Dire Frost keep either, because I think you need 2 people to be able to undo one of the doors. So apparently you can use a gap closer in that dungeon to bypass that, but I haven't tried that. But yeah, those are probably the 4 I wouldn't do. Everything else should be fair game. Now, despite that, I would just do a Fungal Grotto 1, just a quick run through on normal, just because that is without a doubt the quickest way you can get through this. And yeah, if you're not sure, just do this. Okay, so this is easier if you have a Nightblade with Shadow Cloak, this one, because you can activate it and just ignore all the enemies, but I'll just show you what to do if you don't have that. You can just ignore everything until the final boss. None of this stuff matters. So my advice to you is just skip all this stuff. Preferably grab a something that removes snares, like Phantasmal Escape. I think one of the best ones is like Sigic Order, the Race Against Time morph of Accelerate, because it gives you Mage Expedition, Minor Force, and a Snare Remover. It's like so many good buffs in one. So yeah, otherwise just keep running and eventually you'll get away from everything. Now, you can do 2 things here. Either you can just jump straight on the boss from here and just deal with all the enemies in this room, which is honestly fine. Or you can let everything in here kill you if it's too much, and then respawn. Everything that has chased you will reset, and you won't have to deal with them. You'll just have to deal with either aggroing the rest of the room, or just fighting this guy. You can go into this corner and just fight him on your own. But if you haven't completed the Defeat Enemies challenge, then it's probably worth doing, because these enemies in here aren't all that bad. But only do this if you have like good AoE damage. But yeah, I'm just a bit experienced with this, so I know what I'm doing. De-aggroed, so that's good. So the only thing he's got to worry about with this guy, he's got the raw, and he's got the heavy attack. So the heavy attack, block it or roll dodge it, easy to deal with. The raw does basically no damage, but that thing there, it fucking interrupts you. That's all it does. It's just annoying. That's it. Yeah, just block that. That attack, if it hits you without blocking, it knocks you down, and I don't think it's possible to break free from it. Unless you... I'll see. Okay. Never mind. I'm bullshitting. I think Sometimes I can sometimes I can break free from that. Sometimes I can't. It's kind of weird. Yeah, if you just like can't do anything about that, don't worry. That's I've had that issue before as well. Oh yeah, so I think the enemies from further back here are starting to aggro to me now. But don't worry, they literally, it takes them years to reach you. So now, once you're in this spot here, you see the orcs, the goblins, sorry, just chilling at this line. Fucking orc lovers probably angry at me now. So this creek down here, you just follow this down into this water here, and it basically skips all the enemies on this side, and you can just go straight to the boss over here. You can jump in the water while holding sprint to speed up a bit. These mud crabs will usually aggro to you if you do jump, but it's fine as a Nightblade because I get all my ultimate back using Soul Harvest. It's fine. Alright, here he is. So this is the only other guy you gotta kill, Krag the Drake King. Very similar fight to what you have to deal with against Azazar, the other guy. The only thing is the heavy attack comes out quite quick, and he will spawn little mud crabs at about 70 and 30% health. So do it now, I believe. After this attack. Yep, there he goes. I'm just holding on to my ult, because killing all these mud crabs will give me enough for Destruction or ultimate again, I think, soon. Yeah. Yeah, so that, I believe that always does half of your health damage. On Veteran, that on hard mode, I feel like it just insta-kills you, unless you have shit tons of health. I've never tried it. Like, I've never survived it, as far as I've seen. Like that. Yeah. That's it. That's all you have to do. And that is that's a dungeon done. So yeah, that's the only thing I would really bother with myself, unless you're going to do the pledges. And when it comes to DLC pledges, I have soloed White Gold Tower. I haven't soloed Imperial City Prison. I don't know if you'd be able to. Maybe with a companion on the Flesh Sculptor dude, because he does something similar to Creative Hearts guy, where he holds you in place and you can't do anything. I don't know if that's soloable. But White Gold Tower, it is quite challenging, but you can solo that even like, on normal. I'm sure most DLC dungeons even can be soloed on Vet, but you'd have to cheese the shit out of them and use like really specific setups. Yeah, just do Funko Grotto 1 on normal. Save yourself the trouble. Alright, so now we are looking at resources from the world. There's 2 here that come up in the Gone Pursuit, and getting 50, honestly, will take you probably 10 minutes. Maybe 15, 20, just depending on how quick your character is. So, resources from the world. Basically, if you just pick a zone and travel in a straight line, you'll find shit tons of these things everywhere. The only things that aren't going to count are, ironically, chests, which you want to get anyway if you're still doing the treasure chest option. These troves, Sigic portals, you should get them anyway because they give you some good stuff. Insect parts, so any wasp, torch bugs, the butterflies, or the, what's the other one? Flashfly swarms. Anything of those varieties. Unfortunately, they don't count for the resources from the world, but that being said, it's not that big of a deal because, I mean it, these things are bloody everywhere. So basically, just pick a zone that you like looking at. I haven't really chosen a good option here because of the wild burn or whatever it's called. But like, yeah, just find a zone that works for you and just travel in a line. There's a treasure chest there, so you could grab that if you want, but it's not going to count. Any alchemy nodes, any clothing nodes, any jewelry, blacksmithing, woodworking, water nodes, anything like that's going to count. So yeah, basically anything that looks like it's not just a part of the background, just go ahead and pick that up. Now, a few things to help you. Firstly, each of the crafting lines has a keen eye passive, except for provisioning, I believe. Everything else does. So if you're struggling to find these specific things, this can help. I would mainly do this for alchemy and maybe clothing. Anything other than that, the resources are kind of easy to spot in the distance anyway, I think. That's just me. So yeah, you can use those, but they do require you to level up these passives here, and it does require leveling up in the skill lines to get them. But the first passive can be very handy, especially for alchemy, because some of these plants can be very hard to spot in the wild. Another thing that can really help you, especially in these new zones, is going to settings, video, and go to grass and set it off. As you can see, it really curbs down the amount of stuff just in the way between any of the resources you're looking for. Now, if you lower the difficulty settings, the view distance of nodes doesn't change from what I've seen. So things like water skins as well, you can pick these up for a resource from the world option. Killing critters for stuff doesn't work. Killing enemies for like Rubido Hard and all that doesn't work, unfortunately. Now, something that can help if you're struggling to know what to look for, if you go onto the World Wide Web and look up, I'll just give you an example here. So, jewelry crafting materials, we'll go this one. If you go into these menus here, you'll get all the different types of that node that you can get, and if you scroll over it, it shows you an image of what they look like. So you'll always get a maximum of 2 types of nodes of each craft that will show up. So the way to find this out is to go to your skill lines, go to the crafting line of that type of resource, check this passive here. This is one of them. So whatever this says here, you just go to this this page here. It's platinum, sorry. So I get platinum. I look at this. This is the node that shows up for me. This is what I'm looking for. So I know what I'm out there looking for. If this jewelry crafting is the only one where it's DLC related. So if you don't have jewelry, the Somerset DLC, so you don't have jewelry, it's gonna be pewter, this one. The other one is based on your level. So I'm max level, so I get the max one. But say if you do this on like a level 28 character, you get copper in this case. So you just go here, check out copper. That's the one you're looking for as well. Now the only thing is, say you're level 25, which one does this come under? I'm pretty sure it comes under pewter, the one of the lower of the 2. And yeah, you can do the same thing for clothing. So clothing materials, you can just type this in. It should show up in the first one there. And you can do the same thing. So all the cloth producing plants, they all have a specific appearance. Cotton over here. Some of these cloth ones can be a pain in the ass to find, because they look very, like cotton especially can be hard to find in the wild. Same with flax, though it does look a little bit like cornflower, so that does help. I think it's under nodes. Yeah, here we go. So for alchemy, this is what you want to look at, online nodes. I'll link this one particularly in the description so you can find it. These are all the alchemy ones that you can find in the wild, as well as the ones on the water side. These are really good. Going to lake and riversides, like in Gold Road, probably over here is a good option. There'll just be lots of Nirnroot and water hyacinth and the water nodes along the edges here, so you can rank up a lot of those real quick. Yeah, basically just pick a line and just follow it, and you'll find lots of stuff here. But yeah, cloth nodes and the alchemy nodes are probably going to be the most annoying ones to find naturally, just because it can require a little bit of like having seen them before to know what you're looking for there. Everything else, though, it kind of sticks out a little bit more, I think. But yeah, probably a good idea just checking this in general, just to know each one and what they look like. Don't worry about this, though. These, you can't get these anymore. Something I should also mention, surveys. So if you got those in your inventory, I don't have any on me, I don't think. But you can get, every time you do writs, you get a chance of getting a survey report. And these give you 6 nodes, and they spawn in like a specific area on the map of the zone you get the survey on. You just got to travel over there and loot them. They all count as resources from the world. So that's like a guaranteed way, because those are instanced. So if you have one in your inventory, another player cannot grab those materials. They're only for you to grab. If somebody else has the same thing, they will grab their own version at the same node, but it doesn't actually impact yours at all. So it's a guaranteed 6 nodes for you. And so yeah, 60, probably 8 or 9 surveys by the look of it. No, sorry, it's 6, so it's yeah, 8 or 9. If you're going to use surveys, just make sure you get Lost Treasure as an add-on, because that will show these surveys on the map. For some of them, I think mainly just the jewelry crafting ones, some of them are written, like handwritten, whereas the other ones are like maps, so they're not too bad, but the handwritten ones are a pain in the ass, so yeah, you can use this just to pinpoint them on the map. The last thing probably to talk about is speed. So firstly, champion points. If you don't have Master Gatherer yet, probably get this one, because it speeds up how quickly you can gather resources. It's just going to make this one cost less time. The other one is Plentiful Harvest, especially if you're going to do surveys. Surveys can basically make crafting writs a closed loop cycle where you don't really need to go get any other materials aside from the ones you get in surveys. So yeah, Plentiful Harvest kind of makes that possible. Whereas otherwise, naturally, you have to either buy it or just spend some more time getting some more resources when you run out. I personally, I have a lot of crafters though, so maybe it's that affects it a bit. And, like, kind of, it has to be reliable. But as you get surveys, you can just eventually not need to, like, it always gives you more than the amount you put in for writs. So yeah, but that's just a bit more RNG, I think. The other thing is speed through your character. So you can get to a maximum movement speed on foot and on mount. So I'm at the maximum movement speed cap on foot and also on my mount. In order to get these, I have a speed build in the description and on my channel, a vampirism one, and this is the one I use on this character. So this is like one of my dedicated material farmers. So this is kind of like the cream of the crop kind of thing. So yeah, if you want to check out this build, you can see it in the description. It's a lot of work, but basically just Coward's Gear or some sort of speed boosts. So Major Expedition, Minor Expedition if you can get it. Sting, maybe not just for now, but for the long term, because these do tend to show up a lot in these Gone Pursuit. A character which has their on-foot movement speed and their mount movement speed maxed. On-foot movement speed's a lot more complicated to talk about because there's a lot of sources of movement speed. But if you want to know more, I would advise you check out my Vampirism Sprint build that I've got in the on my channel. I'll also link it in the description because that just goes through all the different movement speed buffs and how you can push your character to the limit basically on movement speed without sacrificing too much of their other performances. The other thing, the mount part though is a lot easier. You've got your 60% from riding skill, get that. You want your gallop. You can get this easily from the continuous attack passive in Assault. This is at level 3, so it's really easy to get. If you complete the full tutorial for Cyrodiil, you'll get this naturally. So that's what I advise you do. You can also get this from a set called Adept Rider though. So if you don't have that, you can just use Adept Rider instead, because it gives you the same thing, and it gives you Major Expedition naturally anyway. So it's just two good buffs in that case. The last buff for speed that you can get for mounts is Gifted Rider in the green skill line. If you don't have this, though, it's not a big deal. It's only 10% extra, but this does help for long distances. That's all the stuff I'd recommend you get. So, high movement speed. Oh, apparently I couldn't sprint out of stealth there. High movement speed plus invisibility plus fast node gathering means you get this done very quickly. They can just rush along this place. Some of these newer zones tend to... It's weird. Some places have a lot of resources in them that you can quickly get in rapid succession. Some, it's a bit more of a pain. It just depends on the time of day, which zone you're in. Just sometimes just for the stars to align, really. If I were you, though, Craglorn is potentially the most lucrative because most of the nodes here give you Gnoncrocs, which is it's a valuable thing to have. You can sell it for gold or you can use it yourself for research. But at the same time, this is basically everybody else tends to go. So whether it's a good option to do. There is a lot of resources here, but there's usually a lot of people running around here, especially when resource from the world is an option that everyone needs to do. So in that case, maybe go with some of these older zones and yeah, just like pick a way shrine and just travel in a line. Away from roads though, don't go on roads. Go out here as an example. Yeah, there's not much else to it. I know it looks like a lot, 50 sounds like a lot, but trust me, this shit will go by really quick if you are a bit patient and find some nodes in like an area that nobody else has been to. And even then, the nodes do tend to spawn fairly quickly. There's a lot of butterflies here. It's a shame they don't work. Alright, so basically we just have 2 more to go, and if you've done all the other ones so far, your Gone Pursuit should look a little more something like this, and we'll just have class kills and regular kills to go, and that should be everything for the 20 you need for the bear. Now, as I said earlier, there will be another video later for the alternates, especially for the PvP related ones, when you can start getting the tickets. That will be soon, just not yet. So
I'm just going to cover these ones for now. These ones here, I would mainly do these using areas with lots of enemies, mainly just public dungeons and scar-rich catacombs. You could do dungeons, I suppose. You could do trials, as many as you want. You could do Dolmens if you want to keep doing those, but I think public dungeons and scar-rich catacombs especially are going to be your fastest methods for getting this one done, or these two here done. So the main thing is, you want to be doing this with class abilities if you can, and you want to be using stuff that doesn't have it not proc set, if you do want to do that. Because anything that kills enemies based on proc set damage, weapon skills, light attacks, status effects, anything like that, if they get the last hit on an enemy, it won't work. So you want the only real damage you want to be doing is using your class abilities. Now there is a exception for a single ground AoE skill on the back bar to proc an enchant for an infused weapon damage enchantment staff, or like two-handed weapon. But that's the only thing I would personally use myself. You can use more if you want, if you don't have many other class skills to go, but yeah, avoid anything else if you can. So as far as a good class setup for doing this, my favorite's Nightblade, but that's mainly because I've got a lot of experience with them. But Sap Essence with a bunch of other like AoE skills is really good, because Sap Essence deals a bunch of damage, heals you while it's still in damage, so it just like constantly keeps you healthy while you're attacking. There's some other good options though. Some examples for Templar: Adric Spear, Puncturing Strikes, Morph to Puncturing Sweep. This also deals AoE damage while healing you, really good. Same thing with Necromancers using the Bone Torrent skill Death Scythe. This is probably the easiest one to start using because it's immediately available as soon as you start the game, essentially. Whereas Sap Essence takes a very long time to get to the point in which you can use this in siphoning, and Puncturing Sweeps does take a little bit of leveling, not much though. So yeah, if you don't have any classes to use that do good class damage, I would personally just go Necromancer or Templar, because they get pretty damn good early on. Like basically as soon as you start the game, you'll be able to do quite well with those. Also Arcanist, obviously, with the Crux and Fate Carver, but that doesn't heal you at the same time, unless you've got some other skill lines that have healing, such as siphoning with siphoning attacks and Surge on Stormcalling. So let me show you the places I'd usually go to get these ones done relatively quickly. Right, so 1, public dungeons. The enemies in here will be weaker, but these are areas where other players can come up and attack all the stuff. So how well you'll be able to do this one is mostly dependent on how many players are running around trying to kill the same stuff. So yeah. There are a lot of public dungeons though, so if you find a public dungeon and it's too busy, my advice is just pick a different one, because every single base game zone has one, every large DLC zone has 2. As an example here, Ospinium has Old Ospinium, and it's also got Rekindle left. So if you've got DLC, it might be better to use those, because especially the older DLC public dungeons, those are just, there's so many enemies in some of them. Like, Old Ospinium has a really crazy amount of enemies in some areas. Probably one of the best, though, I'd say is either Vile Man's, Crimson Cove is crazy. There's like this one room which just has just ridiculous amounts of enemies in it. The newer ones I find have less. I try not to use those if I can, and they're also a bit tougher. But yeah, definitely some of the older stuff is good. So while you're doing this in public dungeons specifically, be on the lookout for chests as well if you haven't completed the picking locks and chests one, though I did cover these beforehand, so hopefully these should be done, or at least close to it by now. But yeah, you can do both of these at once using public dungeons. So I'll just go through quickly how to reach some of these public dungeons if you've never been to them. As an example here, Crimson Cove, amazing, but just be aware this is probably going to be packed with players while they do the same thing. So naturally, I'd probably go Volkwasten here. So start in Oridon, go to the docks, talk to a high elf person called Selendilwen, it's a woman. She will take you to Reaper's March. From here, you talk to her again, tell her to take you to Malabal Tor. You'll start in Volkwasten, you just go northwest, and Crimson Cove will be over here. Get this way, Shine.
Yeah, this one's kind of about as close, but this one's easy to get there because there's a lot of orc enemies in the way here, so yeah, it can be kind of awkward getting there. Reaper's March. Here, the public dungeon is a bit painful to get to, but I'd probably start with Strident Springs, and go over here, go down the road, or just cut it through Senelana. There's a lot of enemies here you can kill on the way, though, if you want to. Yeah. Frolic Grimwatch, Wayshrine, Volomance is there, you're all good. If you've got the Orsinium DLC, do try all the Orsinium. Start from the Wayshrine here, just basically jump off to your death from the big cliffs up here, and then just travel down here. Maybe res at a Wayshrine, you might rock up in one of these, I don't know. Maybe not a good idea, you might end up back at that one, but yeah. It's just a huge vertical drop from here to here. You can just go around, but I'd probably just skip that and just run straight through. And yeah, just Wayshrine, and all the Orsiniums over here. It is a bit painful to get to, naturally, even if you have a Wayshrine, though. You've also got Rekindle left over here. Much easier to get to, because you've got Pariah's Pinnacle over here through Home Tours. You can just travel over here. Village of the Lost, probably also another good option over here. There's lots and lots of Dremora in here. Cold Harbour Surreal Estate is the way to get there the quickest. You just go through here, get this Wayshrine, and then you come over here. Probably go through the water with your mount. That's probably the quickest way there. I think there's a quicker place. I'm sure some people probably already know this, but Skyreach Catacombs. This is, without a doubt, the place you can kill the most amount of enemies, and it's instant. So it's separated from the rest of the world. They can't just jump in and kill all the stuff, and you have to wait for it to respawn. All of the enemies in there are yours, and yours alone. If you're not in a group, that is. But even then, when it comes to defeating enemies, you'll probably get all the participation, even if you do it with a friend. Class kills, not so much. But yeah, I just do this on my own, personally. The only thing I really suggest you bring in there is an escape. So an ability that removes snares. Because fucking everything in their mother in this place, everything in their undead mother, wants to slow you in here. So it's just good to have something like this to stop that. It's the case everywhere you go, kind of, but I definitely feel like it's most emphasized in here. I might die here. Nope. Wow, I took nothing. Unless I'm lagging. Nope. Wow, okay. I was saved by Akatosh there. I don't know what happened. Alright, so here we go. So that's usually the way down here. Just jump down the big gap there. Just can die if you don't have much breakfall through the champion point. One of the first green ones you normally get. Alright, here we go. So, there are two groups of enemies in this room. I find they struggle to get through this door sometimes, though. I'll try it today, see how it goes. But yeah, I've really... See how they're, like, turning back and forth? I find they really don't understand how to get through the door sometimes. But maybe if you slow down a little bit. So, just try and pull everything you can, and just take them into one location, basically. And you can use line of sight to get a lot of the ranged ones to get closer. What I'm going to do is try and get all the ranged enemies to basically sit in the same spot. I'm going to go to them, ignore the melee enemies, bring them all to the ranged enemies. That way everything takes damage at once, instead of everything being kind of separated. There will be a lot of enemies that spawn in the background. Don't worry, that's totally normal. Just stay on the ranged enemies, all the melee enemies, all the ghosts, all the skeletons, all the little like basic skeletons from the mounds, they'll all come over to you. It's the ranged ones that tend to run away. There you go, so that's one big group of enemies there cleared. Now I'm just going to go quickly check if those zombies were killed, if they stayed the whole time. Because yeah, sometimes they just fuck off. I did miss a bone mound there. Always look for those bone mounds, because they have a lot of enemies that come out from them. I'll just pull these guys as I'm coming now. Yeah, that's why I looked at that fire pit there, because there's actually more there. Pull these ones. So there's two in here. There's got the one there, and then the one over here. In this area here, I just tend to go into this corner here. I should use a class ultimate, shouldn't I? I shouldn't be using bloody Storm. That's probably not a good idea. I'm gonna light attack a bit, but it's okay. I'm not like going nuts with mine. Just animation cancel. So yeah, you can see what I'm doing here. Just using a class AoE spam ball. And Sap Essence, so it heals me at the same time. Also got Strife going too, though. I'm just trying to use everything I can that is class-based. These guys here are pretty weak, usually. Yeah, it's basically everything dead. It's just a few left. A lot of enemies in this room, though it won't appear that way immediately. Oh yeah, so all the enemies from these bone mounds are coming up now. Because yeah, some of them, when some of them die, the other ones start to spawn. So you will just have times like this where just enemies will randomly pop up from nowhere. There's no ranged ones in this group, so that's better. Okay, do we have more? Oh yeah, we do. They're not even showing up on the map. Oh, on the compass, sorry. Weird. Yeah, I don't know what... Okay, that's a bit buggy. Okay, that's everything. I don't know why they're not showing up. Okay, so I'll put that on. That'll make it better. But you can see down here... sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I've already almost got halfway with this one, and then kills is already... Yeah, it's like gone up by 20% or so. Alright, so this room here... what I should have done is pull them in this room when I pulled all this stuff. Because you can either use invisibility to get past them, or just kill them on their own. The only reason I do this is so I can activate the chest and then kill everything in this room at the same time. And if I... Yeah, it's just... It'll make sense in a second. Just let me kill these ones here. Alright, so... You can pull all these groups separately. This group here, this one, and this one. But if you activate the chest first, it activates all the enemies to pop up, and then you can pull these groups and just fight everything at once. So that's what I tend to do, because if you're going to handle this, it's better. It's quicker. Alright, activate that. Pull these guys. Pull these guys. Heal. Snare remover. Pull these guys. And now we move over to this side of the room. Go right to the corner, and it pulls all the ranged enemies right into the middle of this this group. Right in the middle, in this bone mound. This is where you want all of them to be. So I'll put the ultimate... Oh, for some reason the ultimate didn't fire. That's annoying. There we go. And just look at the fucking kills here. This is where a Nightblade really shines, because with Soul Harvest you get all your ultimate back before you even end up using the other one. Like, I've already got Soul Harvest back. Almost got my ultimate back. So yeah, you're basically just staying in the middle of the room. All the enemies spawn in this little area here, and they just die super fast because basically everything stays still, and so all your AoEs on the floor will just destroy them. Another one down. So that heavy attack there, even if you block it, it slows it down. So I try to avoid that when I can. Yeah, just basically keep moving around in a circle so that most of the heavy attacks from the Colossus don't hit you. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So there shouldn't be too many more. Probably one more wave, or this should be the last one. Yeah, so as soon as you see this shine, that will mean it's done. So you just loot that, you get a purple item, maybe a lead, and just checking it now. Yeah, we're almost... like 2/3 of the way there now. Class skills is done, so you can see what I mean. One go of this and basically everything's done. Okay, so when you go this way, I'd advise not fighting these guys, because this guy here is fucking rough. This dude, like, does half of your health damage in a single hit. He is ruthless. I will pull him, just so you can see what it's like, but you'll tell very quickly that you do not want to do this. Alright, I'm gonna pull these guys. See, look, I'm fucking half my health down already. There's another... Oh my god, so fucking... does so much damage. Alright, so I'm just gonna move into this corner. I'm gonna run straight for this fucking mage dude. Over here. Just keep healing. Strife, raw dodge, keep healing, keep healing. He's in that group. There he is there, so just keep an eye on him. If you see him light attack, try and block when he does, and also do not get hit by his his channeled attack thing. Right. This guy here, he's fucking way worse than anything else in this dungeon. Like, he's worse than all the fucking main bosses. Okay, we got him now. Okay, he's down. That's basically all the difficulty done. Yeah, as I said, don't pull that fucking dude. He's not fun. But yeah, just keep repeating the process here. If there's any ranged enemies, just pull back a bit. Let them all move into the same spot, basically. Move over to them, all the melee enemies will follow you, and you just AoE everything down now. The ghosts will be quite tanky, but they're melee, so you can just have them follow you while you fight the ranged enemies. Yeah, basically just ignore them until everything else is dead, and then they should be pretty weak at that point. Right, so now there'll probably be a few more enemies, probably a couple of ghosts that come up later. Looks like they... yeah, so there you go. There's one. Let's kill them, and that's everything. So, what are we up to now? Yeah, we're almost done. So now, all you have to do is just leave, just take a chill pill for a minute, and then this place should reset. Well, not a minute, probably like 5 or 10 minutes, and then the whole place will reset. You just kind of do the same thing, except just like do one side. Like maybe just go up to the first part, like up here, and that should probably be enough enemies. If not, just kill the next group, and that should be it. And that should be 20 options in total. So that should get everything done. I'll just cover basics of them. So yeah, world bosses, the reason this one is good, I think, is because you can basically go to one spot where there'll probably be a lot of other people doing the same thing, and so there's very little effort required, really. But I'll also cover a couple of other options which could be good, because you can sort of go back and forth between them, and also some of the other options are easier, I think, if you're on your own. So if you want one world boss that is very easy to get to, and it's probably going to have a lot of people around, but it's just going to be one, so it's going to be relatively slow, this will probably take you 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less depending on the spawns. This is Daggerfall here. So Glenumbra as a zone, this way shrine you start with whenever you create a character, so you can travel here at your leisure whenever you're ready. As soon as you get to this way shrine, just go down this wall here, and there is a world boss down here. This guy, Limb Scatter. So basically, start the game, you've got access to a world boss pretty quick. Now, there's not that many people here, less than I thought that would be, but it is the opposite of prime time in North America, I suppose. So Limb Scatter. This guy here, to make this fight a lot easier, my advice to you is that interrupt there. If you're struggling, don't interrupt that. Just let it happen, because he'll do nothing while that happens. There is also... every attack he does comes out pretty slow, but they hit like a truck. So if you block those attacks, it won't cost a lot of stamina as if you time your blocks well to only start blocking when he's about to do them. It can really reduce the amount of damage he does, because yeah, that's like kind of all the damage he does, and the heavy attack. Roll dodge the heavy attack if you can. Yeah, it's not difficult to do this fight. It's just... it's time consuming, and it will be very taxing on your resources, but usually there'll be other people here to help you. Also, if you can get a companion, can always help. Especially if you can get like a tank to hold aggro and take care of the blocks and all that. The only thing with a companion is they will interrupt the thing that he does, where he basically does nothing for a while, and that will cause them to take a lot more damage, I think. So yeah. But yeah, Limb Scatter here, Western Overlook, always a good option, I think, for a world boss. So if you're on an easy boss, this, I think, is the best option for you. This is the Lesser Circle in Alika Desert. She'll hit you a few times in the course of the fight, but as long as you don't interrupt her when she does this attack here, and as long as you spin in a circle, basically, she spends like 50% of the fight not doing anything. So there she goes, she hits me, and then she'll do like a channel thing, and then you just get out of it, and just give myself a quick heal. But like, I can just kind of sit here and let her do this, and she'll hit me very few times. There's a couple more. Yeah, we've got to have some tanking here. Yeah, here's the thing. Don't get hit by the AoE, because it hits like a truck. But it's very easy to get out of. Once that's done, Alika Desert's great, because there's another one down here, Lost Caravan. It's a big cliff racer. Is that what they're called? The big rock lizard things. One of those is the boss here. They're a bit tougher, I think, than Lesser Circle, but it's still pretty easy. There's like a conal attack that you have to avoid, and then they hit pretty hard, but that's kind of all they do. So if you have like a companion that can heal themselves, it's very easy. The other options, I'll go through them. I don't think they're as easy, but you can back and forth these other options. I mean, you can do that here, but the other options I think are easier to back and forth because they have way shrines near them that are easier to use. That or they're right next to each other. So Green Shade has a really good pair, these two here. So, Rootwater Spring, you've got Heart of Rootwater here. It's basically the same as Limbs Gather from I can't remember what it's called. The one in Glenumber there. And then you've also got right next door, you've got Reconnaissance Camp with these three NPCs here. So this pair right here, you can get to both of them very quick, and they're not that difficult. They're definitely easier than like DLC ones. But yeah, this trio here, they don't have a lot of health, that's the thing, so you can AoE them down relatively quickly. And yeah, so Rootwater Spring, so you can just go between them. The only thing is, getting here is a bit of a pain, because Rootwater Grove, there's so much shit in the way. There's lots of lurchers and stuff in the swamps, so you'll probably get, you'll probably aggro a bunch of shit while you're coming through here. And the last one to look at is this one here, Brahma's Grove and Strauss Swarm Hive in Stonefalls. So what I'll do is just quickly go through how to get to these places, because you don't have way shrines here naturally, so if you've never been before, it can be good to learn quickly. So House of the Silent Magnifico, use home tours to get here, and then just travel east, you'll get to Lesser Circle. You have to go around this way, I believe, to get to Goat's Head Oasis, and that's the way shrine nearby. And same thing with Divad's Chuggan way shrine over here for Lost Caravan. For the ones in Green Shade, you probably want to use either Boulder Tree Refuge or use the Boatswain from Oridon to get to Reaper's March and Valenbal Tor. Not that way, sorry. Go Grantwood and then Green Shade. Don't go the Reaper's March way. And you rock up here, and then you just go out here, get this way shrine or this one, and then you can just travel over this way to get to these ones. As for these two, probably use Ebonheart Chateau or Ebony Flask in-room to get over here. And this way shrines are not by default, so you can easily get to Strauss Swarm. I'll just do that first. I think Strauss Swarm is the most challenging of all the WoD bosses you can do from these groups. He does a lot of melee damage, and there's not a lot of downtime. He's got like one thing where he grabs like a rock from the ground and then throws it. That's kind of it. So I try to do this one only when there's like a group around. But yeah, I mean, if you have some self-heals, it's usually not too bad. It's just, it'll be long in that case. So you'll know this one's up when there's a bunch of little Kwama up. It's the regular Kwama Scribs and then the Kwama Warriors rock up after they die. So from here, you go to this way shrine and then unlock this way shrine at Fort Arand to... That way you can use the one over here. About the same distance between each other. Okay, Brahma on the other hand, compared to Strauss Swarm Champion, not too bad. Just get rid of the two little calves on the side. Get rid of them, this fight will be much easier. So, he does hit fairly hard, but he does this this channeled attack, where he creates an AoE underneath him, this one. And if you just let him do that, he just sits there doing nothing for a while. So it just lets you get all your resources back. Sometimes the boss will just stop doing it for some reason. You have to move around a little bit for them to do it again. I don't know why. But yeah, there must be something weird with the locomotion. Or maybe they have to be like flat enough. Like the elevation has to be low enough or something. I don't know why. But yeah, sometimes they'll just do nothing but slap you for a while. Don't worry, if you experience that, I've experienced it too. Yeah, honestly, that's usually what I do for WoD bosses. It's usually an option I avoid though, because it can take a while for the bosses to spawn. But if you want to use the one in like one of the more common ones, like for example the one in Glenumber with the Western Overlook, you can just like kind of watch YouTube in the background while you just wait and plink away when it comes up, because there's so many people there usually. But yeah, it just depends on the time of day. Sometimes this one can be okay, but it's usually going to be time consuming and quite some effort. Some of the other things are fine here, but all the other shit, you can just do it on your own. You don't have to wait for other people to be ready to help you, so that's why I like focusing on them. But yeah, I'll leave it there. So yeah, if you want to see all the PvP related stuff, I'll have a separate video for that. But for now, that'll be it. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. I'll see you for the next one. Take care for now.